missionaries. And what we see in this pattern is we see the biblical pattern that the church continues to work here while we send others abroad. And so a lot of times in the missions arena, we're faced with the question, especially in our society today, we have people go, well, there's so much hurt here, there's so much need here, there's so much poverty, there's so many things that we could address here. Why are you going to faraway lands? Because the Bible teaches us to. That's my answer. My answer is the church has a job to do here. But just because the church has a job to do here, it does not excuse us from what we have to do around the rest of the world too. So I looked at these as they got ready to go, and I said, I really appreciate the fact that whenever we put the invitation out there, you responded. You went. And so we as a church sent you. You are our Barnabas and Paul. You were the ones you were gifted, you were the best we had, and we sent you. And I tell you, the work that they did, I've just been so impressed with. I'm going to let, as much as I like to talk, Melanie led this team. Where you at, Melanie? Melanie led this team. And so I want Melanie to tell you all about the things that they did. And then each of them are going to share a reflection, some thought, what impressed them about the trip. They might even share a funny story or two. So at any rate, I'm going to turn this over to Melanie. And then when you're all done, you'll get your T-shirts.
If we survive this part. Some of our girls are nervous. So when Jason asked me to lead this team, I was like, no way. I'm out already. I'll do the project, but I don't want to lead the team. But I really appreciate Jason giving me the opportunity and trusting me with the lives of all of these people behind me. It was a great time. Saturday, we were able to have more of an intimate setting with David and Amy and also Jay and Nancy Dickerson. We normally don't get to spend any time outside of the work job with the missionaries, and it was really good. They hosted us at their home. They made us a nice taco burrito meal. It was really, really nice. And just to be able to sit down and hear some of their stories and hear some of their experiences in a more intimate setting was awesome. Sunday, we got to actually visit 2 churches. One was actually in the Bree tribe, which is in the indigenous tribe that David works with on a monthly basis. He goes up there once a month and helps them out and kind of helps them learn how to do things outside of having electricity and water, because we were at the most accessible point of the church. Any further up the mountain, they don't have running water. They don't have electricity. So we were very grateful to be able to attend the church there. And another church we visited, the pastor there is from the indigenous tribe, the Bree tribe. And they are just, it's amazing to go there and to see so much that they lack, so much that they don't have, and yet they are more grateful than we could ever be here. It's very humbling experience to be able to go there, and they just worship and they pray and they just love God so much. It's a good experience. But one of the things that I wanted our team to kind of be put into a perspective is none of us know Spanish, un poquito. I wanted them to have that experience of walking into a church and not knowing anything. We couldn't sing the songs. We couldn't understand what the pastor was saying. And some of the ladies were like, we really wish we would have kind of knew some Spanish. But then I said, but now you have some perspective of what the missionaries walk into. And David and Amy shared some stories with us as well, because some of these new missionaries that are going to Sincel, they've only visited maybe the countries that they're going to or been called to several times on a missions trip. So now here they are in a foreign country, some with children, some with not. They don't know the language. They're now attending churches that aren't bilingual, so you go in and you just have to tough it out. And then they're also going into a school where they are not allowed to speak English. The teachers are told they cannot speak English. And a lot of the teachers there they're from Costa Rica, so they don't know any English. So they're teaching Spanish what they know. So it's from a perspective there, I was like, wow, now I get it. Now I understand why we're coming down here, because it's a tough transition. I know Amy and David and some of the other students there have told us some of the stories like when they first got there. I know Amy was telling us, she literally was like, do I need to pack my girls a lunch, because it was the day before they went down there, and the next morning the girls got on a school bus to go to the international school, to which a school they've never even been to. David and Amy have never even visited. So she's like, it's a tough transition to, coming into a new country, going to the grocery store, figuring out, is this sour cream or mayonnaise? I don't know. Is this something that I'm okay to put in a casserole? Beans and rice. Beans and rice is always good. When all else fails, beans and rice. But it just had, with the children, that's why we had a big emphasis on making sure that the kids' rooms were done, and making sure that it was done to a way that they could come in and already feel welcome. Because a lot of these kids, we met a lot of the little ones there at the school. We had a lot of the students come in, and the kids are just, they're just like, woohoo, but if the kids are happy in a new place, then that puts a peace among the parents that you can't take that away from. So that's why we had a big emphasis on making sure that the kids' rooms were done. They also go through, I think it's like a missions kids camp. So they kind of transition as well, and they have a school that they go to. So it was really cool that we were able to take care of the kids' rooms and make it nice for them. So the beginning of the week, when we walked into the apartment with that nice brown paint, some of it multicolored, we were like, oh, okay. It could have been an impossible moment, because there was a lot to do. And we had this is probably one of the smallest missions teams that we've taken. And so here we are standing there looking at the brown walls, seeing that we have to sand down some of the furniture, we have to paint the furniture, we have to paint the walls, do all this stuff, and we have basically Monday through Friday to get it all done. But as the song says, little is much when God is in it. So Amen. We had a small group, but we got it done. And one of the things I told the girls, the girls and Shaun, during our devotion, I promised myself I wouldn't do that. Sorry, Shaun. Our team, one thing that I told our team when I was doing Devotion Friday is, some of the things that we thought were impossible. A lot of us have families, we have children, a lot of them are going on missions trips, a lot of them are graduating, we have little ones, and we thought it would be impossible to, number one, raise the funds to go on this trip. And then to get down there and be faced with this big project with only 6 of us, it seemed impossible. But I told the team on Friday that impossible is God's starting point. So we went in there, and the team worked great. As I said in my devotion, each one of us brought a different calling, a different gift with them. But we all meshed it together, and we got the project done. There's only a few little small things that still need to be done. Hemming curtains, which Amy looked at us and said, okay, who all's good with a sewing machine? And we're all like, we're good with scissors. Will that work? So Amy just has a few more things that she's got to get done. But for the most part, the walls are painted. The furniture's there. They have new appliances. The home, when we just kind of just sat back Friday evening or early Saturday morning, we did kind of like the Chip and Joanna Gaines, if anybody is a fan of Fixer Upper, how Joanna goes in the last day and just stays there until that's what we did. But we got it done, and I'm just so glad that we were a part of this to help these missionaries, because a lot of people were saying, well, that's really not a missions project. You think missions and you think you're going out there, you may be doing like Vacation Bible School or ministering or having services or ministering to the unsaved. But to me, this project was as the same importance as all that, because we have helped set the tone for these missionaries to come in, because of all the transitions of having to learn this language. If they can come home to an apartment that kind of brings back their home, it kind of reminds them of home, and have that peace, and more importantly, that they feel God there. and that they know that they're in a safe place with some nice new paint on the walls, and they just feel at home, that to me will bring peace to them so they can focus on what they need to focus on and go out there and win souls. And one of the other things we learned about Sincel is it's not just for missionaries going to Costa Rica. Everything from Central America to South America, all the missionaries have to go to this school. So we're going to be a part of blessing many missionaries. We met missionaries going to Guatemala, Antigua, which, Jason, we need to go on a missions trip there. Just saying, I think Kelly will be a part of that one. So it was a great opportunity to meet the students, the families, and just to be able to talk with them and see how they're transitioning, because a lot of them say it's one of the most difficult transitions in your life. And sometimes that it can make or break them, because some of them just, if their children don't transition well, that's one thing that could just bring them back to the States. Amy was telling us of some of the missionaries that's their calling, but their kids, they're just, like if your kids aren't happy somewhere, you're not going to be happy somewhere. So, but I could not be more proud of this group. I'm not going to have leaky eyes. I told myself I'm not going to have it. And all they've accomplished. They did an amazing work, and I'm looking forward to working on more missions projects with them. So, if anybody who wants to go first, Kendra said, get it out of the way.
Good morning. Are you comfortable right now? Because last Sunday I wasn't. I was hot, and I wanted to go home. And we hiked to church. I hiked to church. I'm pretty. I don't know about anybody else. I like my Michael Kors. I like my Nike. I hiked to church. There was no air conditioning. There was no running water. But the Lord was there. Amen. I sat upstairs and I realized I was comfortable. Last Sunday I wasn't. Those people are still there in the heat, praising the Lord. So we got it made. But I hiked to go to church. It was an experience like none other that I've ever seen. It wasn't getting on the plane. I had some trouble with that one bag rule. My stuff. I didn't have my stuff, and I had one bag. That was a lot. And I left my home. And I'm so proud of it.
Amen.
But the beauty of it, after all the week of all the painting, and believe me, I painted cabinets, and I don't want to ever paint another cabinet again in my life. This little girl got off the bus they came from Panama? Nora. Nora had on a princess dress and her heels. And I'll never forget Nora, because Nora was smiling and skipping. It was beautiful. Then when we did the ice cream, Nora comes bustling into the room with her fairy wings on. And she was a princess. All of this, and Nora was still Nora. She was 4 or 5 years old, and Nora was acting like Disney was around the corner somewhere. And if Nora can be happy in her fairy wings, then I can be happy without my stuff. But I do want some fairy wings. Hint, Mother's Day is coming.
Amen. That's awesome.
I think I have to do it, y'all. Okay, I just want to say that Kendra did awesome. I think she was really nervous to have a roommate, and I was that roommate. And I did not read the book. Shaun and Melanie, I mean, they put together an awesome book. Y'all, I didn't read it. I just trust them, so I went. I didn't know Kendra was my roommate until we were in the airport. And I'm like, oh, she's not going to do well with me. Like she's not going to like me when this is all said and done. But we bonded. We had some interesting experiences. I don't know if y'all know this, but everywhere we went, there would be this briefing before we would get off the bus or whatever, where they'd say, hey, by the way, you can't flush the toilet paper. Or, oh, okay, so you really can, you can't, yeah, you just don't put the toilet paper in there. So in our hotel, they said, toilet paper's fine, you can flush toilet paper. Not the case for our room. Not the case for our room. And then many other places we went. And I tell you, I'm actually kind of traumatized now. Like, can I flush the toilet paper in South Carolina? Like, I know I can, but it feels really weird. Anyway, so we had a good time. We had some fun mishaps with washcloths are not a thing in Costa Rica, just if you didn't know that. It's really difficult to get washcloths. I got hand towels. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the fun part. But to get a little more serious, we really did have a good time. And I can say firsthand, this church, the kindness and the generosity of this church sending missionaries. I've been one of them that you guys have supported years ago. And but this was my first out-of-country trip, my first team trip like this, and I'm so glad that I went. You guys just, you don't know what it does. The thing that Melanie hit on this, and I'll end it shortly, but the thing that really got me was the children. And I know Melanie talked about that, but I didn't cry all week until we had the ice cream social on Friday night, and there was those children, and they were just, even Kendra said it, they were just there. They were so happy. And I got to talk to a few of them, and just to know that, you know, their parents got called, right? But God didn't just call the parents. He called the whole family and the kids too, and to know how different their lives are going to be. And the great things they are going to probably go on to do for the Lord, whether they're in missions or not. It was just amazing, and to know that we're a part of that. So that was really amazing. And Sincel is really cool. I didn't know Sincel even existed. So to see all of the amazing work, that all of the funds that we do, anyway, it's just awesome. I'm done.
Yeah, Costa Rica was a very eye-opening experience for me. I had never been on an airplane before. I mean, it was just, yeah. I freaked out a couple of times with the turbulence, and so, yeah, that was crazy. But it was eye-opening. Like, when we first got off the plane and I was, you know, we were going back to the missionary's house, like, I was just looking around. I was taken back by, like, the poverty. The houses there, they're basically like shacks, most of them, and like the roof is rusted, and there's like fences around like almost every house, and it really touched me. Like, it made me appreciate my little 2 acres of land and mobile home that I live in and stuff. And like a couple of the others touched on, like last Sunday when we were at the church, we had to hike to it and in the mud, and I had on shoes that were not good. But so yeah, and the people were just, they didn't care. They were there to worship the Lord. They could care less that it was hot. And when they were walking up to the altar, their backs were soaking wet with sweat. And it just really made me appreciate our church and everything. But yeah, we had a lot of fun too. Decorating was my favorite part. And on Friday, we seen some beautiful like waterfalls and stuff. And God is awesome that He created all that. I mean, it was beautiful. Like, I had never seen anything like that. But yeah, these guys are very funny. They're very funny. I'll let them tell you about like the river that was and stuff. But yeah, so here you go.
So Crystal started to allude to a song that I was preparing to sing this morning, but decided I shouldn't. I'll give private performances later. Yeah, and I'm glad she mentioned that the hike to the church was in the mud. past the chickens and the ducks and the goose and the rabbit, many of whom interrupted service. So, no, one of the things I do love about going on a missions trip is getting out of your comfort zone and getting a different perspective of the world. Like they've all mentioned so far, it really does make you appreciate what we have here, from the luxury of air conditioning or heating to the friends and family that are supporting you and leaving you, that you leave behind. This was a unique trip for us. Like Mel mentioned, we spent a lot of time with missionaries. Not just David and Amy, but Denny, who runs Sincel, and Jeremy and Earl that are on maintenance there. And one of the really neat things when you spend that much time with missionaries that you realize is they're great people, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing special about them. They are ordinary people through whom God is doing extraordinary things. All they did was answer the call. And it is never more in your face than when you're a part of someone's family for a week and you're in their home and you see they live their life just like you do. They're just doing a job that is a little bit different from the one we do from 9 to 5. So I'm extremely grateful to David and Amy for being able to share that aspect of their life with us. I'm trying to think if there was anything that y'all haven't hit on that would be, That was your favorite part. Yeah, that was my favorite part. If you have a chance to go to any of the Latin American countries, don't sit shotgun. No, I was referred to as, I won't use the word, a pansy. Because we may have turned down a one-way street the wrong direction with a bus coming directly at us. And when Amy apologized to us, I looked at her and said, it's okay, I may have peed a little though. And I also learned, if you think that you are being tailgated, you are not. If there is more than 2 inches between you and the car behind you or in front of you, you're fine. If there's less than 2 inches, then yes, tailgating is occurring. So, but I think that's it, and I'll let Vicki wrap it up.
All right, just a couple of things I wanted to share was I was Crystal's kind of buddy when we were there. Our little buddy system that we have. So I got to sit next to her in the plane, and that was an experience. So her favorite words were, "Is that normal? Is it normal?" But one thing I will say about Crystal, though, is, this was her first time getting out of her comfort zone. And I'll tell you what, that last morning at breakfast, she had foods on her plate that she had never tried. I was very proud of her. So she did very well. But I think for me, this trip, my brother and his wife actually went through Sincel back near when it first opened. And I wasn't a Christian at that point in time. And I remember when they came home, I don't remember my brother saying much, but my sister-in-law, she was like, just my first impression of these Christians coming back from a foreign country was, it wasn't a good experience. It was not a real nice school. They went and they were missionaries and all like that. But so I just remembered what she said. So to go, and I loved being able to see this place that we took, and then seeing that finished product. That was really cool. And just knowing that the people that are going to come, that they're not going to have to worry now, and they won't have that same experience that my sister-in-law had. That hopefully at least the people that stayed in this apartment will be able to go in and be like, wow, So, there was a lady that, her name was Girella, if I'm saying it correctly, but she did lunch and dinners for us at the school, so we could keep working. All we had to do was go downstairs, take our quick bathroom break, and she had a beautiful meal set for us twice a day. So I don't know if they gained weight, but I know I gained some weight there. So we ate very well, and she was just so sweet. She didn't speak any English, But she was just so sweet, and you could just see the kindness and the love that she had. And she just likes to cook, and that's what she does. She ran a restaurant, or she cooked in a restaurant for a while, so that's what she likes to do, and that's what she did for us. So that was really cool. And I did get permission to share just a tiny little bit about the river that was behind us. And the only reason I'm sharing this part is because it was part of an experience for me that we were painting in the first bedroom, the first child's bedroom. It was me, Shaun, and Crystal were in that room. And so we were just having a little conversation about the Rio Pipicaca. So, and it was at the little river that was behind the school, and that's what the locals called it too. So we were talking about it, and the lady that was cleaning the bathroom in the other room, she pops around the corner, and she just goes, da 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 da. I'm like, I know, da 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 da, you know. And it was so funny because when I said that, and she just, you know, because she heard what I said and she knew what I was talking about, and she just came around and put her 2 cents in, even though we couldn't understand a word that she was saying, but you know, she's like this and all this and then this and you know, so, but it was really funny. So that was just part of my funny experiences. So and then the last thing that I had was just when we left yesterday, knowing that we could leave after a week, you know, and then the people that were at the school, you know, they made the choice to go there. They were brand new, just like we were brand new, but after 7 days we were able to come home. So, and you know, they were the students that are going to be staying in that apartment probably within the next couple of weeks. It will be filled. And the people that they think are going to be coming have 3 children. So, you know, when they come, they're not leaving after 7 days. They'll be staying, and they'll have a great place to stay, and freshly painted and clean and sanded furniture and all that. So, anyway.
Thank you. So I'm glad everybody had this experience. I know some of us were just first missions trip. And it was first missions trip for some of y'all, and then it was everybody's first project of doing this at Sincel. It was first time for David and Amy. So we really enjoyed it. And you know, I would say if y'all are feeling called or you feel a tug to go on a missions trip, like I was saying to the team the other day, sometimes there's a difference between feeling ready and being ready, and then there's God's calling you. So, you know, you can think you're ready and then come to find out I'm not prepared. I'm not ready for this. And then, you know, but then when God calls you, he's prepared you to be ready. So if you think that I don't know if I can do this, if God's tugging at your heart to go on a missions trip, do it, because he's prepared your heart already. He's prepared you to be ready. So do it. So we have a short little movie here of some of our experiences, so we'll go ahead and roll that.
It's up inside your head. You got a voice that says you won't get past this one. You won't win your freedom. It's like a constant war, and you wanna settle that scar, but you're bruised and beaten, and you feel defeated. This goes out to the heaviest heart. Set match, time to put it in your past. Oh, feel the winter leaving. It's redemption season. Long live the young at heart. Cheers to a brand new start. We're revived and breathing to live a life of freedom. Oh, to everyone who's hit their limit, it's until the race is won. Don't you ever give up. No, no, never give up. Until the kingdom comes, we'll run till the race is won. Don't you ever give up. We will never give up. And oh, to everyone who's hit their limit, and even when you think you're finished, oh, to everyone who's hit their limit, it's not over yet, it's not over yet, and even when you think you're finished, it's not over.
I tell you, I'm extremely proud of them. It's good work. I'm glad that we're able to be a part of that. We're getting ready to do our mission trip graduation ceremony, but before we do, there's two things I'd like to do. And first and foremost, I was on the way in this morning, I was telling Kelly, when I see stuff like this, just to give you an idea, the project itself cost us $5,000. So we spent $5,000 upfitting that apartment. It included buying appliances and all that good stuff. And whenever we think about the bang for the buck, I'm really excited that for $5,000 we radically changed how a missionary family will start their term. And I was telling Kelly on the way in, I said, it makes me want to start calling my buddies in missions around the state and say, hey, we did it for $5,000 and a team of 6 people. How about you go take one? There's 9 more apartments that need to be done. Which, again, took me a step back and said, we're really blessed that whenever we had this crazy idea that our pastor went, yeah, that's right. That's the kind of missions we're into. So I want to take time to thank our pastor for having our back and for allowing us to do this kind of stuff. Not a lot of pastors give me as much leash as what he gives me, and so I always take time to make sure I thank him for it. Do my best not to ever choke myself. Before anybody else gets a T-shirt, there's another critical part of our team that not many people know about. For those of you who don't know our travel itinerary, I didn't do to my team what some pastors have done to their teams and fly them to New York to save 10 cents to fly them to the Dominican Republic, Larry Burbacher. But I did fly them out of Atlanta to save $500 per seat. So we saved $3,000 by flying out of Atlanta. We could not have done that without Mr. Marion Adams being willing to drive us down there and back. Come here, Marion. Now, Marion, we want to make sure that we recognize your goodness in driving us. You're a part of our team, brother. The first time I got Marion to drive was to Charlotte, and then the next year I got him to drive, it was to Greenville. I want to see if he drives to Texas next time, see if it's any cheaper. So those are my thank yous I want to give out. Now we'll present our team with their T-shirts, which are from the missions department, and then also, we believe missions is a family affair in my family. So every team that goes, my wife and my daughter spend the day that they're coming home, they make cupcakes for them. So the cupcake is from Kennedy and from Kelly, just to say welcome home. We're glad to have you back. So let's start with Vicki. Vicki, thank you for answering the call. Crystal, it was a pleasure to have you on this team. Thank you for answering the call. My old missionary friend, wait a minute before she goes, I got to say, Kendra, when she was a Chi Alpha missionary, when she came home, she lived in our house. I know. Did she leave the TV on? She used to leave my TV on all day. That's what she used to do in my house. Stephanie, thank you for answering the call. Glad to have you on the team. Kendra, one bag. One bag. You did. I am so proud of you. Thank you for answering the call. Ernest, thank you for letting us take her. Shaun, our security guard. Thank you for doing what few men would have done and going to a foreign country with a team full of women. We will make a contribution to your counseling fund. Melanie, my team leader. Whew. Now you can breathe. I told her, I said, you're off duty Monday morning. But now you got them all here. They testified. They did. You're off duty. You did great, Melanie. Thank you for answering a huge call. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Pastor. Thank you, sir.
You had to hike last week. Let me tell you what I had. I'm not going to say any names, but my daughter told me this morning. She said, Dad, you did great, but you're not wrong.
Thank you for sending a team. Thank you for having a part in it. We've got other teams that's going other places this year. Some of our young people are going on missions trip for the first time. It's exciting to me. One of the things I asked God when I took over as pastor here, I said, God, give us a strong missions program. And it was like God said, be patient. Because we didn't even have enough money to make payroll, much less have a strong missions program. Then one day, God started stirring in my heart. And Jason just happened to say, I'm here for you, whatever you need. Let me talk to you for a minute. Let me tell you what God's put on my heart. And he stepped in and he's done an awesome job. Amen. He couldn't do his job without you. It depends on you and the way you give and support. Our missions banquet that's coming up next month. If you haven't already signed up to be there, if somebody hadn't asked you to be at their table, get with Jason and say, I want to be there. I want to be a part of this. Or take a table yourself. Have we got extra tables? Yeah. Just say, I'll be a table host. And go out and get 8 people to sit at your table. So it's because of you that we can have days like today, trips like this trip. It's because of you and the way you've given that the young people are wanting to go on trips. And they're going with the youth department this year. And it's because of you that we're making plans to go to Africa and minister there. It's awesome. It's an answer to prayer. It's a blessing. God has blessed this church because of you. Thank you. From the depth of your pastor's heart, I appreciate you guys so much. I tell everybody about you. I said, man, we got the coolest congregation. Yeah, they can sleep and snore and know what I've said and be a part of everything at the same time. They're just cool. I have people, other pastors regularly. So how do you get your people involved? How do you do the things that y'all are doing? And I said, it's my personality. No, I tell them that most of the time I have to hold y'all back, that y'all would do even more. And thank you for just being who you are. You got anything else? Y'all got anything else? Let's stand together. If all minds are clear that we've obeyed the Lord, there's been nothing left unsaid or undone. It's been a good day, hasn't it? Amen. Father, thank you for this missions team and the work that they were able to do. Thank you that we're affecting lives in foreign countries, around the world. But God, not only that, we're affecting lives right here in Rock Hill through the various ministries and the outreaches. Continue to pour out your Spirit. Continue to use us for your honor and your glory. God, thank you for allowing us to be a part of what you're doing around the world and in hearts. You are an awesome God, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Now, before I dismiss